Okay, welcome back. Well, I just got done shooting a video for this sky here, and now I'm gonna wait a minute. I better move something here. Move that over here. Sorry, I had to get that painting out of the way, make sure no splatters get on it. So this is gonna get kind of messy. I still got my palette here. I'm gonna put a lot of this blue paint on here, and I see I have a lot of this crimson and blue here. I'm trying to show you with all of them running together. That's a lot of paint for this canvas. Here is a student stretch canvas made by Practica. Show you this again. 12 by 16, 5/8 deep. That's this thing here, the edge. Excuse me, I believe. And all right. A little let's see here. I didn't quite get what I wanted accomplished on the last painting, so I'm a little bummed about that because it didn't work like it should. This time though, I think it will. This is a trial and error thing. We're learning together here. That's just when you think you know something. But I think I know what happened was I didn't put enough paint on the first time. That's why it dried too quick. This time I'm going to spray some water on. And it was fine the way the other painting went. You know, you just learn to work with what happens, you know. You go, okay, well this isn't the sky I was wanting, but I know what I can do about it. I can add in some clouds, and that'll help it, you know, and it'll look nice. And I don't have to, you know, have a perfectly clear sky every time. You know, but when you do get one, you know, you want to work with one. I mean, you want to be able to paint one if that's what you want. So we're working on that. Just spreading this. This is what I use here to get water nice spread around. The bristles really pick up most of it, but what's left up there is enough. I'm gonna look at it at an angle here so you can see it. But what's left up there, excuse me, is enough for us to work with. I gotta clean this brush still. Let me do that real quick. We'll get to applying the paint. Okay. Now it's not really dry, but that's fine. So here I want to start with my lightest color. Just want to really get that up there. And this is pretty wet here. So and we obviously, I don't think that that looks good for, you know, and we can go up a ways with it. Might have to spray it again. Okay. Yeah, and we don't want it to see where it's dripping there. We don't want that. So let's get away from that. I'm gonna clean this brush off. So I can get the bulk of that paint off there and don't have to clean it perfect like we're putting the brushes away for the day. Just get it good enough that you know, and it's not perfectly dry, but it's dry enough. And I'm going to grab a lot of this blue here. Look at that. Okay, that's really strong, isn't it? See, I probably should have put the white on again. But see how we're gotta stop there before all that crimson gets eaten up. Now, let's wipe that paint off on my palette. Clean the brush again. And it would be helpful to have several of your brush that you like to do the sky with. I only have this one right now, and I just like to use. I'm wiping that off there. I don't normally recommend you pull on the bristles, but I try not to pull on them too hard. Just try to wipe off and squeeze it, and then I wipe off. So you don't want to squeeze and wipe. Squeeze it, blot it in there, and wipe it gently. Okay, now for this dries here, let's grab some white paint. We gotta brighten that up a little. Okay, there. Sounds like that's about the end of the tube for that one. Actually, I'm gonna go back and use this again because I'm still painting here. Get the blending brush later here. Okay, now we can go like this, crisscross strokes. See how that's making it nice and smooth. Yeah. See how that paint kind of gets there? We want to get rid of that. I want to get rid of that white there. Let's rub that off. If that don't work good enough, but you don't want to wipe it all off because you're still working with the paint. If you have a completely dry brush, I don't think you're going to get a good effect with that. Just go with me on this here. Crisscross strokes. And see, we're killing some of that ghastly blue where it was, and you know, it's mellowing it out with the white. It's toning it down, making it look much more easy on the eyes, so to speak. And this paint is still wet. Look how nice this blend I'm getting here. Okay, and I'm doing crisscross strokes, and then let's smooth that out. Oh, I got a little of that blue there. You really got to work fast here. You got to really get tough here and work fast. Okay, this is going to be a nice blend. And here we're just going to kind of fall through up here. Okay, now this is acrylics. Let me get the camera up a little closer so you try to get that glare off there. I take the light away and you can't really see it, so that darn glare. But you can see it didn't get it perfect. You know, there's the brush lines there, but we can cover them up. I usually do. I'll shut that light off for a moment. Maybe it will help. Oh, okay, but this is a pretty good blend. This is how the paint seems to blend with the acrylics. I'm trying to show it to you so you can see. Coming down at this angle. It's not a perfect blend, but you know, imagine some dark trees in here. You know, just like maybe this is a real dusk scene and has a lot of dark trees. You know, and you want to oops, look what I did. That's all right. That's about the cutoff line there anyway. Like, let me see here. Let's see, we'll cut it off there. And this could be a seascape too, or a big lake back there. You know, just kind of picture in your mind how things could be. Maybe that's all the sky is in there. This is a big huge hill here slanting down, covering most of that up. And you just get a little bit of that light, that glow there. That would look nice too. you know, once you get something like this set up there, this is the sky I wanted to show you in the first painting. See, the flow of it is much better, and I think it's because I had a lot more of the paint. I used a lot more of the paint, and maybe I did it quicker because I wasn't talking as much. I don't know, but so there you have it. That's the sky. I'm going to show you, for example, and on the trees. Now, I don't like to do distant evergreens with this brush, but it's possible. It's kind of, it's got a lot of straggly bristles here and there. I want something a little finer. It's just the brush is just too worn out. Something like this. See how that's got? If I go through the paint and I make kind of a purpley color, I just bring that blue and crimson together. It's not a lot of paint, but it's enough here for the distant trees, I think. I'm gonna brighten that up a little with the white, maybe a little more of the blue. You know, you gotta think, well, the furthest away would have the most blue, but then you think, well, maybe it should be more pink because it's farther away and it would be lighter. So, you know, you gotta compromise. I do like the contrast of the warm against the cool. So the warm being the crimson, the cool being the blue. So we'll go with a color like that. It's kind of an in-between anyway. Maybe a touch more of the blue. And see, I wiggle that brush through there. This is a 1/2 inch angular brush by Creative Mark Qualita. Okay, Qualita, however you pronounce them. And I just wiggle that through there, sharpen that up, and I'll cover up with my little thumb fingerprints there. And you just kind of tap down. You can even, so this is all dry here, and I can rest my wrist up along here to just touch the tops, and go that through there again. And that way I can get a nice sharp point. So you want a little brush like this for those areas. But it's all about feel. Let's see. I can take my fan brush and go through the paint. And I don't have very much paint. I'm going to make up a little more, but I'll show you that. Grab some of the crimson here. Don't need a lot, just enough so something on the brush. Put that together. Something like that, I believe. Just want to get all that paint nice colored there. Okay, now this, notice, is pretty sharpened, but there's a lot of wriggles in there. It's not totally flat, you know. It's kind of wavy. You know, look at that. You know, but for the most part, you can paint this too. You just gotta get used to how each brush works. Me personally, I prefer these, that other brush to this, though I like this brush for closer evergreens. works great for the oils because I think the oil paint's a little firmer and it holds in the brush better. So that's one how you can do it, and you get a different look. So with each brush you get a different look. You can use this little flat brush here. We can make evergreens this way. I hope I got enough paint there. You can probably need to add a little more of the paint. So what is the point of all this I'm trying to show you is that if you know how to use the brush, you can make trees with that brush, trees with this brush. That's what I'm trying to show you here. It doesn't matter what brush you have. If you know how to use it, if you know how it works, and some of these I'm not as familiar with anymore. I haven't used them in a while. And I don't even know that I ever used this brush to make evergreens. I think there's better choices than this one, but I just wanted to show you that it's all about getting familiar with your equipment and getting a feel for the paint, and that all comes with practice. And we can just keep going on and on. I can come back in here and fill in some areas there. So, I mean, somebody might say, well, it looks like you used a different brush. I don't know if somebody will do that. I think that I get, you know, get the camera in here. I think you can see why I use those one brushes. They come out a lot nicer than with the fan brush and with this brush or any other kind of flat brush or little detail brush. If you want to, you know, you could probably get a nice sharp edge with a little tiny flat brush like this. You could probably get those edges, but I just find that the angle brush here works a lot better for those distant evergreens. Drop my brush. That's alright. Okay. So I hope that's helpful with the sky and learning the brushes, getting the feel of how to paint is the most important thing. You know, getting that. I start usually, I think, with just like I showed you. I got up here close and I got that tip in there real nice, and then just work down. But this will give you something to practice, something, you know. I mean, just take a canvas, a blank canvas, and then just make trees like this all the time. Whatever you're having trouble with, you know, if it's the sky or the trees, just take about 5-6 blank canvases each time. Put a little more paint. When you spray the canvas, add more water, add less water, use more paint, use different brushes, combination of brushes. Find out what works best for you. You're not going to come up to a canvas and attack it with brushes and voila, you know, each time, you know. It's a learning process. There's a science here. It's just like any chef. They have to have the right ingredients and they have to follow the baking instructions or cooking instructions to get that, you know, to get their meal right. They prepare a dish, you know, it has to be prepared, you know, food has to be thawed overnight, marinated overnight, or you have to have all these ingredients ready to go. Um, so, you know, it's a science to it. Um, and this is art, you know, but art is everywhere and everything. And you just, if you look at that, you know, and you look at all around what, you know, people's professions are, their jobs, there's an art to everything. Even the simplest task. Even the garbage man. He has an art to how he does things. Truck drivers, they have an art to how they do things. They got to get creative. They got to find the, you know, the quickest route to get to point A to point B and back. And sometimes they get detours, and they got to find the creative, you know, use their creative minds to 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 work around that. And I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. It's more than just putting paint up on the canvas. You gotta take from your imagination and just. But at the same time, you wanna think about the feel of the brush, feel of the paint, and it takes time to get the practice with the consistency of the paint. How thick it is, how thin it is. And of course, as you know, on the wet and wet technique, a thin paint will stick to a thick paint. That's the golden rule. And but here we don't have to worry about this, as the paint's already drying. It's a little wet here still, but at the top it's all dry. So it'll be free to move on. And if you wanted, you could take a clean brush before that all dried away and just mist a little of the area here. You can't rub this too much. The paint's kind of acrylic paint is kind of funny, but you can make nice paintings with it. You know, it just takes time, experimenting, working with it. This probably would have worked a little better if I would add a little of the white here, the red. I'm sorry, the crimson. I would say red. It's crimson. I do use a bright red too. Yeah, put in something like this too. Just to kind of sparkle it up. I don't know. Kind of looks nice there, floating in the mist. I like that kind of effect in paintings. I don't want this all white here. I just get tired of looking at things, and I gotta get up and paint again. But you know, that's just a start. I can add more things in here. I'll probably, you know, I don't know. It's just for fun, practice. But you know, you see where I'm speaking here. Oh, you get that glow. See how that glow is in there now? And I probably made it a little bigger than I needed. But that's alright. It has that glow. And then right where I got the my hands are at, see there's that glow underneath at the base of the trees. Like I was just saying about the mist covering around it. That's important. You got that in there too. You want that in there, because when you put the next layer on, the shadows, and right in here, over this, like if you put a thing of land right here, then that'll push that back farther with that layer of mist and things happening here. It's like a little meadow, you know. Here's a little forest area, and then it just kind of breaks out into like a meadow, and then, you know, here comes another hill, and that pushes it all back, and it has that nice look to it, you know. It's got that glow. Anyway, you get the point. All I wanted was just that little bit of glow in here on the trees, and you got this nice, you know, if I had used more of a bright red, it kind of come out purpley, but it does look a little funny now that it's dried. And I'm going to go back up here and try to show it now that it has dried. And you can see it's not perfectly blended. You can get it blended better than that if you use more paint. That's why it's not as blended as good as it should be. Because for one, I added the water, and I added just a little too much. And because I didn't want it to dry. I wanted it, it's more important for me to show you the blend. And that's what the kind of struggle is for me, is I can get the good blend, but like a lot of times it gets a little too watery here. It's not dry on the edges, that's for sure. See? More paint there. I'm turning into a Smurf. But you can see where there's the lines from the bristles. And it doesn't really bother me to see that. I would rather have that than and let it have a good flow in the blend. That creates the glow. That glow is more important to me than these streaks. I don't really care about them. If they're that bad, then I can come back in here. I'll put a big tree in front of them, and that'll cover it up. It's usually only on towards the edge, because as you're going along with the brush, when you sweep over this way, the paint builds up over here. Obviously, that's where all this paint come from. It's on here. See, so and that's because I put on so much paint, and that's why you get those. But it's okay. The important thing is you get this glow. That's what you want, that glow. So you see, I got it over here too. But we can just take big trees and just kind of frame the painting in, and that pushes everything back. That'll push this whole area back here even farther with some real close-up trees. Like you're coming out into a clearing and you're looking between two trees. I mean, you don't have to do a painting like that every time. I know I do a lot of paintings like that, but that's just, like I say, I'm just telling you how I do my paintings and how I get acrylics to work for me. And I hope that I'm starting to, I think I'm going to keep on going with this in-depth outlook on perspective on my method of painting wet on wet acrylic. I consider what I do wet on wet, though, like Bob Ross, William Alexander, Len Hend. I consider what I do like them, but of course Len Hend paints acrylics now. But I feel like I have more of a hybrid of the wet on wet and other traditional methods, where I'm learning to do dry brushing and like layering with glazes. Of course I do it my own little way. I don't actually have any glazing medium. I just take some water and the color I want to use to either darken or brighten up an area, and we learn that way. So I'm going to put the camera back down here. Hand's getting a little tired. I should probably wipe my hands. Speaking of hands. So I think that's about all I'm going to film for today. I covered a lot of information, I think. Covered a lot of ground here. Really all it comes down to is just practice, 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 trial and error. Finding those brushes that work for you when you do something and you go, wow, you're like, wow, that came out good. You remember that, remember what you did, remember what you used, the brush, the equipment, was it the knife, what canvas were you using, what was the paint like, what was the consistency. Keep all these things in mind when you're painting, to kind of make like a mental checklist of what works for you and what's not working for you, and then on a rainy day, well, whatever, any day, you make a kind of a list of things to work on, Um, like I really need to. I'm liking where I'm going, but I really need some help with my reflections, or I need some help with this or that, and you get the idea, and work on that. That's what I do. Um, you can't beat yourself up about it all the time. Just hit it once in a while. I mean, and then go back to your comfort zone, and then come back and attack it again. And you'll do it better. But that's how I do things. That's how I progress. It's probably not the best way. Maybe the best way is to just keep attacking it. But sometimes it feels like you're beating a dead horse here, that you're just not getting anywhere. So you can't let yourself get in a cycle like that where you're not getting anything done. And I mean, you want to keep it fun. You want to have a good time. That's what this should be about. It's a journey, and it's about having fun. And that's about all I got to say right now. So I hope this helped. Because I know people always compliment me, like, wow, your paintings always have this glow to them. When I get complimented, I get what people say, things like that. Like, it's got a really neat atmosphere. Well, this is what you do. And it does. It catches people's eye when you have something like this going on. People look at that. And this is very easy. I know it looks hard, and maybe it's harder than I give credit for. Um, but I think with practice, you can get this. This isn't blended out perfect. The paint, like I say, it has. You can see. I'll show again. You can see that there are brush marks here. But what's important is that color blend, that dark to light, that cool to warm, and that's what gives you your glow. It's like a flame. It's got that bright, warm glow into the shadow. The coolness. I mean, think of that night sky. That's cool, but that's sun setting, and that's so warm. So think about that. Crimson, cobalt blue, and kind of mixes together, with the crisscross strokes. I mean, I'm doing the same thing that Bob Ross did. I was crisscrossing. It didn't look quite right. Remember, I put the blue on. Actually, I'm sorry, I put the red on first, or the crimson. I apologize again. Crimson, and then I put the crimson on. Sorry, I don't want to be like crimson. Those are the trees. No, this horizon, the crimson. I worked my way up. I kind of let it fade out, and then I came back with a clean brush, started the blue down, and brought it into the crimson, and then I took that brush, put white on there, so it was just white on the brush, and I blended it up, and well, you saw it, and if you can't remember, you can go back and rewatch it. So, and you can see how it got that, and you probably couldn't see it too good at first, but now you can see how it's got this glow, and there's a painting waiting to be evolved here now that I got that. There could be a nice cabin in here in the foreground, So, and like I say, don't worry about these brush strokes here. That you can see it's not perfect. I got a one long streak here, and yeah, I know I don't like it that much, but I'd rather have that. If that's what it takes for me to get this close, that's the important thing. That's the important thing. People overlook these streaks. They don't care about that. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You tell me what you think. Personally, I don't think it's that big a deal. Especially since I probably cover up this with some dark trees here. I mean, where it looks really bad. But in the center here, sorry about the shakiness. In the center here, it comes together pretty good. And it probably would have came out even better if I hadn't got the canvas so wet and the paint had been on there a little thicker. Then you won't get those streaks. And I'm sure now at this point everyone's tired of looking at the corner and at the canvas, and I don't really have much else to add right now. So, but I really felt that it was important to go in depth on this, to give you as much information that's inside my brain on this subject, because people have trouble with it, and I think that I needed to explain, and I hope I explained it to the best of my ability. There might be even more things going on that I don't really know how to put into words or what, but I tried to be as logical in presentation about it, and I think that, you know, if you just practice the skies, and work on that, you're gonna get it. So, you know, try it for about 20 canvases, and look, you know, look back on your first one and look at the last one you did, and I bet you there's going to be a lot of improvement if you know, just keep testing your paints. I know not everybody uses these. I do recommend them, though I will admit that they dry a lot faster than the regular artist acrylics, but I just like working with them. They go on so smooth. So with that, I think I'm just gonna stop. Okay. All right.